folks. I said it before the break. Greg Papa Fridays here. We love talking to Greg. And end of story. But also, we talk to Greg every Friday at 9, which also means Greg is kind of the gateway to the weekend.
Yeah, it's here.
And Pavlovianly, not a word. I think my body is.
You're getting nervous.
I wasn't until I promoted Greg coming on before the break, and like literally my hands are sweaty right now. If you were to shake my hand right now, you'd be like, "Oh God, this is disgusting." Like I am so ready, nervous, hopeful. We'll bring him on, the voice of the Niners on your home of the Niners, Sactown Sports. Greg Papa. Good morning, sir.
We talk every Friday, as you said, but this is Championship Friday, and here we go again. Third year in a row, fourth in the last 5. Niners have played in more of these than any team in pro football since the merger, and they haven't always gone pretty. You've had some of the biggest wins in the history of the franchise on Championship Sunday, and some of the most difficult losses have come on Championship Sunday. But let's just enjoy it. We're not going to kick off till 3:30, Dave.
Yeah.
3:30. So what do we got? 54 and a half hours, something like that. So
yeah. And
I have to get it. What makes you concerned after Green Bay?
Yeah.
You're not confident. These are the Lions. Come on.
I know. And they have.
It's not 1957, brother. Why are you worried?
Because they've got Jared Goff, and they have Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and they have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Laporta, and they just signed Ertz, who will probably do some blocking and be a decoy, and they have Aiden Hutchinson, and we played kind of weird against the Packers, and I'm a Niner fan, and this is the 30th anniversary, and lastly, and this is probably really unfair for me to say, but I think me, along with a lot of the fan base, and Greg, I acknowledge this is super unfair, but without a Super Bowl championship, the season feels not like a failure, but like I feel like there's more pressure on the Niners to win the Super Bowl than any other team for a myriad of reasons. And so because of all of that, plus I'm a Kings fan, I just wait for the wrong thing to happen.
But you won last night. That's the best game I've ever seen Harrison Barnes play, by the way.
It was the best game.
Kevin Herter coming out of that trap to get the ball.
I know.
The bonus for a dunk. I mean, you feel it? I mean, all right, slow down.
Okay.
Everything you said is true.
Yeah.
They're good. This is the best offense I think the Niners have faced. This is the most balanced offense. This is a Kyle Shanahan offense. This guy, Ben Johnson, their offensive coordinator, he's going to get a head coaching job, and I think he's going to Adam Peters, our friend, now the new GM in Washington, and the guy's great. I mean, the way he diagrams stuff, they're creative. They run it balanced. Both backs are involved, and they're different. Montgomery, in theory, is the big bruiser between the tackles, but he can bounce. Jahmyr Gibbs is lightning quick. He looks like Le'Veon Bell, the way he stands straight up, doesn't bend his knees. Looks like a guard at Buckingham Palace or a toy soldier before the snap. And then when they snap it, woo! Le'Veon Bell, the pre-snap perfectly still. And then he's Elvin Kamara. He's a great player. And Amon-Ra's the guy. And Laporta. I heard all that. But I do think the Niners can heat them up on their offensive line. Penny School, their right tackle, is a great player. Taylor Decker over at left tackle has been around so long. He played with Nick's brother Joey at Ohio State. So I think Nick will be over Decker's side a lot. And the middle of their O-line is not good. You may see some Buckeye blitzes in this game where they stand up Chase and Nick together and go over the A and B gap. So you got to get Jared off the midline. If Jared's sitting at the that mid spot right behind the quarterback, whether it's 3 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards, whatever it is, he will pierce you. But we know this guy. The Niners have beaten him 5 straight times, and I think they'll roll him and boot him some in the game to get him away from the midline because I expect the Niner pass rush to get to them. On the other side, Dave, Aiden Hutchinson's a really good player. He's their version of Nick Bosa. Their safeties are really good. Melifonwu's a great player. Kirby Joseph, the rookie branch. They got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the mouth of the South. Formerly with New Orleans. We know him in Philadelphia, now Lion. He and Deebo got a thing going on. But their corners are bad. I don't normally say that. I just can't give you a redeeming quality about that. They can't play bump and run. They can't play soft and off and bail and rally up and tackle because they're not great tacklers. They're attackable. But you got to, they're going to blitz. They're going to bring Melifonwu from the slot, Branch from the slot, and they'll bring Anzalone and Barnes and Campbell. They'll blitz because they got to blitz to cover the corners. So I'll be looking at a shootout on a beautiful day, 3:30 kickoff, as late afternoon turns to evening and it gets a little dark, and we could have a game in the 30s. I don't know, but I just and I hear everything you're saying, and I could feel it Saturday night. It was the tension.
Yeah. And
all I kept thinking was, what if they don't win? What's the fallout? But the world we live in today, and it's always been, it's a civilization where winners are praised, losers are losers, even though you're in the NFC Championship game. It's just that if you lose with this expectation and Brock and the whole thing, it's going to be hell to pay. It's unfair. We should enjoy. I feel like sometimes the fear of failure overwhelms the ecstasy of winning, which is sad. Why do you do that? I felt that with Al Davis at the end of his life. He wasn't celebrating the wins. He was just so angry about the losses. It's like, why do you do this? What's the fun of this? He was obsessed. So, but I think as fans, though, we just got to enjoy the journey because it's fun. Would you rather be the Niners playing on Sunday or my Bills sitting home wondering about the last Sunday and why they can't make a field goal and everything, why they can't beat Kansas City? So I hear you, but isn't that the fun? What's the line? Pressure is a privilege, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you feel that way. Sometimes you feel like, I got to get through this game. And it's like, what would you rather be doing? Watching at home? So let's just enjoy it, no matter how it goes. But I think they'll win the game. Jason, are you as down and worried about this game as Dave is?
No, I'm not.
Never.
I like the Niners this week. I like their chances. I like them scoring on Detroit, to your point. And, to kind of go to your first thing you said, Greg, do you think the fact that the Niners have been in 3 of the last 4 of these, and a lot of these players have, and coaching staff, will experience be a factor in a game like this?
Well, it's not, but I also think it's a sense of calm. Like I can remember my first, I had 2 with the Raiders in 2000 and 2002. We lost the first one, won the second one. And then the one in 2019 with the Niners, I remember being really nervous for that one. I was very calm for the Green Bay game. I don't know. It's just, you've done this enough. And I think our players, when they were young in 19 and, Kittle was young, Bosa was young, they were young. Ayuk wasn't even on the team. Deebo was a rookie. I think there's a little anxiety of how it's going to go. I think for a large segment of the roster, they've been in these. Now, Ayuk's not 1-1, Trent's not 1-1. They only have the agony of defeat. But I do think there's a calm in being here. I think it's critically important the game's a home game. If this game was going to be in downtown Detroit at Ford Field, I'd be concerned because they're going crazy there. I mean, the decibel level they had for the Ram game and for the Tampa Bay game, I mean, God. And it's a big advantage to playing offensive football at home as opposed down the road with a silent count. And I think the one thing, they're playing outdoors. This is a dome team. This reminds me a lot of Kurt Warner and The Greatest Show on Turf. They were on turf inside that Edward R. Jones Dome. They never had to go outside. The Super Bowl was indoors. They stayed indoors the whole run. And even though it's not going to be like the rain game against Green Bay, it's still on grass. It's still going to be some wind involved. You're going to be in a strange stadium. Who on this team has played in the stadium besides golf and a few guys? Not many. And then, as I say, it kicks off at 3:30. It's going to be sunlight. Though sometimes those late afternoon games are weird. You get a strobe lighting, the sun's setting, you lose a ball in the sun, you drop a punt because you can't see the ball. You play outdoors, it's different than playing inside a controlled environment. And then at some point, night's going to fall. So it's not like they never played football outdoors, but they've only played 5 games. All of their games, including the 2 in the playoffs, only 5 have been outdoors. And the last one they played outdoors in Chicago, the weather got to them and they lost. So, and the other ones were early in the year. It wasn't a lot of weather. And there's not going to be a lot of weather in this game. But my point is, it's just, they're the ones that are going to be in the foreign environment, not the 49ers. Plus, their coach, Dan Campbell, went in the media room to talk to the media this week, and he's like, oh, my God, there's like 5 times as many in this room as there usually is. I don't know half you people. And, my team doesn't know why you're all hanging around asking all these questions. Coach, you win the game, you're going to the Super Bowl. Wait till you get there if you win. They're going to have 5 million people. So I think just what I'm expecting is, and they can come in and be cool. Goff's from Nevada and Marin, Cal, and he can come in here and know the weather. Have his family there to calm him down. Who knows? It's a football game. It's an athletic competition. But I'm expecting the Niners, not just the experience of the game, but everything around the game, driving to the game. They parking the car, going in their own locker room. When you go on the road in sports, there's a reason the home team wins these games. It's because of the familiarity with everything. And I think it's even heightened more because the Lions are a dome team.
Greg Papa, voice of the Niners, joining us. All right, Brass Tacks, Deebo Samuel. I know you're not the doc, but your best guess, are we seeing him on Sunday?
Yes, I think he'll play. He was doing a little something on Wednesday, not much Thursday. Yesterday, he was out there. And he's got a blue jersey on, so you don't touch him, but it's hard to miss Deebo anyway. So he wasn't involved in every single rep, but he's I would be shocked if he doesn't play. Now, one thing you have to brace for is what volume of plays will he be involved with? Will they turn and hand it to him? Yeah, maybe, but will they do it 5-6 times? Maybe not. Will they run the Deebo dash, the lasers, the screen left and right, the rockets and all that? We'll see. Will it be a full menu of Deebo in this game? He was involved, Dave, heavily in the game plan for Green Bay, and that went out the window on the 4th snap when he got hurt. Do I think he'll be involved this much? I don't, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see how he is today. Today's a Friday, a little shorter practice, more of a red zone, both offense and defense, and then Saturday's a walkthrough. But I think he'll try. I think he'll be involved. At the very least, you could use him as a Deebo decoy, as he does like Steph, gravitational pull and all that. And but then you also have to brace for, these guys like to bite kneecaps and all that. So they know what shoulder it is. They're gonna put him on the ground. Can he block with that left shoulder? Can he go up above his head and make a catch? I think if he can't protect himself by, stiff arming a guy and, that full mobility, I think they won't clear him to play if he can't do that. But, when he's blocking a corner or a safety, they're going to, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson doesn't like him anyway. They got something going on back and forth on social media. And that guy's tough. He could jam. When Deebo goes to block him, he's going to jam that shoulder and try to throw him to the ground on the shoulder. When they tackle him, they're going to try to drive him to the ground on the shoulder. So I think he'll try to play. Does that mean we get the full Deebo experience for 60 minutes? We didn't on Saturday, and it came out of nowhere, the injury. And he does play hard. That's why he's Deebo. So there's a possibility he can't go the whole game or the full volume of Deebo. But to answer your question, I think he's preparing to play this game.
Greg, you mentioned earlier about you expect this to be the best offense the Niners have faced, the most balanced and what they call the scheme, the personnel. So on the other side, defensively, is there a key player or a key strategy here to slow them down?
We got to stop their running game. There's no doubt this team is completely and utterly balanced. They're like the Niners, Chase. They're a top 5 team in scoring. They're number 3 in total offense. They're number 5 in rushing. They're number 2 in passing. They're number 3 in red zone efficiency. They do give the ball away a little bit. They're 19th there with 23 giveaways. And third downs, they're still good, but they're 11th at 41.5%. Third down is always so big. So you got to stop their running game first and foremost. Jahmyr Gibbs is a game wrecker. That guy is just a great player, number 26, with his speed, his bounce, everything. The tight end, Laporta, is a great player. He runs routes. He can block. He's really good. The best outside of the quarterback, the key guy is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Mm-hmm. And I really don't know how you cover him. He goes in the slot a lot, but not always. He's outside some. They go to a 3-by side, and he's number 2. So the number 3 guy is the one closest to the line of scrimmage in a 3-by. The 2 is the middle guy. The 1 is the one closest to the sideline. He lines up at 1, 2, 3. They isolate him. They do all kinds of stuff. He's a great route runner. Great route runner. He's not fast, 4, 5, somewhere in there, but he plays fast, way faster. His change of direction is elite. He's great. The guy that I would put on him and just if you wanted to man match him. And I think the Niners will play a lot of zone in this game and then just drop and cover, and you better tackle. But Diamador Lenore can stay with him, try to with his change of direction. He'll be a tough cover for Travarius Ward because Travarius is top heavy. He's more up against guys that are big and strong. This guy's big, but his legs are strong, but he changes direction. But you can't do that with Demo because he'll line up in the slot when Demo's in there. But when he goes outside and they got 3 wide receivers on the field, you got to cover the other guys, and Ambry can't go in the slot, and Travarius can't go in the slot. So you're going to have to play a lot of zone, just zone it off and then rally up and tackle. They're going to attack Ambry Thomas, but Green Bay did that. I was concerned about it going into the playoff game because he's playing with a broken right thumb, so he's got it gloved up and wrapped up, and he couldn't wrap up. He lost a tackle early on Saturday to Aaron Jones off his chest plate of his shoulder pads, and I think he lost his confidence after that, and then he committed a terrible pass interference call when he just panicked on the ball in the air to Bo Melton and grabbed him. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Sam Laporta are the guys on their offense around Goff. And the big back, if you don't key in on Montgomery, he'll run all over you. But those guys have great ability, 26, 14, and 8-7.
Greg Papa with us. Going back to that Packers game, the Dre Greenlaw second interception. We always replay your calls on Monday, and a couple things about that. Number one, your partner, just hat tip to him because we play calls from around the league, and I got to say, at least 94% of all ex-player analysts would have stepped all over your call, and he didn't. You were able to get the call out, let it lay out. And then he came in perfectly, which is why you guys are the best in the league. I'm biased, but you are. Secondly, have you ever wanted a player to hit the deck more than you wanted Dre Greenlaw to hit the deck in that situation?
Well, I would say no, but I'm a stickler for game management, and I read all those John Reed game management books. Al Davis gave them all to me, and I go back to remember Brian Westbrook when he was an Eagle playing for Andy Reid? I thought it was genius when he slid down on the 1 yard line and didn't score a touchdown because by just getting the first down, he knew the game was over. And everybody went crazy, and fantasy was big then, but not like it is today. If he did that now.
Well, Todd Gurley did it a few years ago and took a ton of crap for it when he was with the Rams.
I saw a young running back at Stanford do it for Harbaugh. Mm-hmm. Where it gets into problems is when you get a defensive interception, and when you get the ball, the game's over.
Right.
So I just, if they had 2 timeouts left, there's 34 seconds to go. There's a 40-second play clock. Do the math. If the Niners get the ball back, the game's over. So the moment he intercepted the ball, game over. And there was a time the Raiders had a cornerback named Darian Gordon many, many years ago, intercepts a pass at the very end of the game and runs it back 85 yards for a touchdown. And all the while I'm saying, go down.
Right.
And and they routed this team, but you had to kick off. There was 1 minute and 50 to go. I've seen guys get hurt, bad injuries where you didn't have to play those 1 minute and 50 seconds. The game was over. Once you get to the point where you're in a kneel down situation, the game's over. And I remember telling Al Davis about it, and he's like, "What are you talking about? They should have scored." And Al was a real stickler for game management, so I was surprised he didn't agree with me. He walked away, he got mad. But do you take a player and not give him a pick score? What Dre wanted was the ultimate ending, was to intercept it and run it back into the end zone. If he had a clear path, okay, sure, I guess. With 34 seconds to go, it's going to be a squib, and they're going to kneel it out. You're probably not going to get anybody hurt or harm's way. But once he starts running all around, and he's not, sometimes I got to get that guy a compass or GPS. Sometimes I wonder if he knows what end zone it is. Don't do a Jim Marshall and run the wrong way. So I was like, and then he's swinging the ball around. I'm like, I honestly thought there was a point there. Look at that play back. I thought Diamador Lenore was going to tackle him.
Yep.
And get him on. But I thought, if you do that, and he fumbles the ball, maybe tackle him gently or what? Yeah. So that was what a play he made. What a game he had. What a game. The
Absolutely.
first interception, diving, the 4th and 1 stop turned the whole game. Green Bay was dominating that game. And they run that love shove and the 4th and 1, and he goes up top. I actually thought they got the first down, and LaFleur should have challenged. I thought they got that on 3rd down. And then also on the last drive before the last interception, as a linebacker, he got out, way out. It's called X-cut, where the linebacker drops out at an out cut to Romeo Dobbs. And he got out so far in his drop and got to the sideline, he obstructed Love's throw, and Dobbs didn't catch it. He on the sideline, he missed the throw. That may have been his best play of the game. So he had a great game. But this is going to be a big game for Dre, because you got to match this back Gibbs. You know, this is a little like when you went up against, I don't know, Darren Sproles in New Orleans, and they had Jimmy Graham. Remember that combination?
Yeah.
Where they got a tight end you got to cover, and they got a running back you got to cover. So how do you cover when you're zone? You play zone. But when you're playing man, do you put a safety? What safety do you trust to cover Laporta? You know, you got Dre and you got Fred. We're going to have Patrick Willis on the air today, and Patrick, I think in a couple of weeks' time, may get a Hall of Fame nod.
Yeah.
But you know, back a few years ago when the Niners went up against Sproles and Jimmy Graham, they had Patrick and Navarro Bowman. You know, those guys could cover elite running back and a elite tight end. This is a bit of a concern. If you're going to play a man, you know, is Dre. I don't know what you do. Dre had a hard time with T.J. Hawkinson in Minnesota, the former Lion turned Viking, and Laporte is just as good. He's got a bit of a bad knee, so Dre's going to have to make big plays in this game, and Fred as well, to match up with their tight end running back combination as pass catchers.
That's the voice of Greg Papa ahead of this weekend's NFC Championship game. We've been there a few times before. One more win to get to Las Vegas. I certainly hope you and I Jason are all having a nice, happy conversation next week, prepping for the Super Bowl in a couple weeks. But
we'll be getting ready. We'll be getting ready.
I like it.
How about that win last night?
Hey,
HB was De'Aaron Fox. That was a quality win.
Yeah, you know,
quality win.
He had to miss the two free throws though to put the blood pressure.
Kevin Huerter.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Kevin Huerter.
He made some great plays. Kevin Huerter's pass out of that double team. Wow, great play.
Well, all right. Thank you, sir. Good luck rest of those vocal cords. And
thank you.
You're making me wait. I'm going to play this back and just listen to Jason's side of it. So what are we thinking? 38-35, 38-28?
I said 38-28. I did say 38-28 earlier. So.
Oh, you did? I got it exactly?
Yeah, right. you did. 38-28 is what I said.
Are you going to tell them the whole thing? Or?
Niners, obviously. Wow.
Greg, what do you think he said?
Greg, I never pick my team.
He does it on purpose.
I never pick my team.
He doesn't want to pick
games.
the Niners.
I'm trying.
What did you picked?
I never pick my team in big games. I don't ever pick.
I'm hanging up.
Exactly.
I'm hanging up.
Have a good call, son.
Pick Detroit to win?
I'm trying to reverse jinx. Don't mess with the gods.
Just don't do the bet. Just let it go. Take a pass.
That's a good point.
What's in your life abstain?
Have a great call.
You're killing me.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you. You made
every single thing that every fan does at home or at the stadium makes a direct impact in the game.
Yeah.
Just trying to do my part.
You made Greg Papa upset with
you. I did. He hung up on us. Now he's going to be mad.
He's just going to listen back to my part.
And then he's going to be angry talking to Patrick Willis.
Yes.
All right, pick six. We got to do